What's cracking, everybody? Zerfel Rose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content, along with little Maggie, my cutie little sidekick. We're lighting a candle and sending it off in a boat today from my pal Porygon to one of my favorite, and honestly probably the most busted safe swap in his meta. I'm probably not going to get to use it for a long time after this because Ultra League Premier Cup is kind of where it shined the brightest. So thanks for the ride, man. It's been an absolute banger of a time, and I'm going to hopefully use this video as a good way to send you off. This is going to be our final video for the Ultra League Premier Cup Classic forever because there's no more Classic formats after this season, so it's been a great ride. Let's all enjoy it. Let's get into these battles and absolutely see what this thing can do. Now, Gallade and Aurorus, by the way, great strong core in this meta, except as soon as I started playing Gallade, I saw literally every person playing a dragon in the entire meta that I could. So instead of going for the Zap Cannon here, I go for the Tri-Attack just to try and threaten them before they get to a superpower. Tri-Attack does do a decent amount of damage, and I can shield up their superpower, especially if they don't get debuffed. They're not going to throw the superpower. Well, they're going to throw the superpower anyway, but superpower is going to get shielded here, and that's going to give me a chance to flip switch because even though I'm down some HP and have a shield, I'm going to be able to get a bunch of Tri-Attacks off because my opponent basically let me live. Or I shielded. Obviously, I'm going to live, but my opponent let me go with a bunch of energy, and I'm going to be able to get to 2 Tri-Attacks before this Tangrowth is able to get to a charge move or is willing to throw a charge move anyway. So Tri-Attack's going to get a debuff, and honestly, this thing's within farm range. If I wanted to win switch, I could probably do it, but I'm not going to. It just doesn't seem like it's that worth it. I would rather get some energy on my Gallade, or even honestly my Aurorus, but I'm going to go in there with the Gallade, and they, of course, live with 1 HP, and they're going to be able to get to the charge move, which almost always seems to happen to me, and it's okay. You know what? IVs matter until they don't matter, right? My opponent's probably going to come in with a Dragonite. I'm immediately trying to switch to my Aurorus here because I want to be able to get some chunk damage done on this Dragonite, and honestly I could probably get to the Weather Ball before you, but my opponent brings in a Charizard, and we have to find out if they bother to shield this Meteor Beam, because to be completely honest, they don't know. No, they shield it. Of course they're going to shield it as a Meteor Beam, but that boosts my attack, which means these Weather Balls are actually going to threaten the opponent now. So smart me in the past, you know, what we would have done is honestly we would have built up to the Meteor Beam, and that's what I'm looking to do here. My opponent's going straight Dragon Claw, though. I noticed that the counts are not quite up for their Blast Burn. So my opponent's going straight Dragon Claw. You definitely want to go Blast Burn in this scenario, especially when I have no shields left. My opponent could have gone for the Blast Burn here and easily probably taken this match, but I am going to overfarm just a wee bit, and I'm going to go for this Meteor Beam. My opponent and I CMP, and I'm like, oh no, is this a Blast Burn? Because if I did, that's a bad idea. But nope, fortunately for me, it's just a Dragon Claw. My opponent did not go for the Blast Burn, and I'm kind of not sure why, but I think it might have just been my opponent not sure if the Blast Burn would have done more damage, but Meteor Beam does plenty of damage, and I'm going to come straight in with my Dragonite because I expect them to throw the energy that they had stored, and honestly Gallade with a Confusion will put it within range of one Powder Snow anyway. So well played, good game, and we're going into the next game, which is Surfetch Lead, which is great. Surfetch Lead is amazing. I love seeing fighters on the lead. Charizard, however, on the safe swap. I don't know why I'm staying in here. It seems like a really stupid idea, and I pay the price. I should have just come straight in with the Aurorus, and honestly, this was my first set playing with an Aurorus, too. So I kind of have to figure out my learning curves and everything, but that's all right. I'm going to go straight for a Weather Ball here. The opponent's taking enough damage that this Weather Ball actually puts them in a range where I can farm them down, and this is the part where I find out how much damage a Blast Burn does to my Aurorus. Spoiler alert. Not much. It's about 60-70%. It does a really good amount. This is the Dragon Claw, though, and I know for sure because I'm counting. And so Dragon Claw, I also find out how much damage that does. Now, 1 counter is all that Surfetch is going to need to take me out, though. So maybe I should have shielded at least one of those moves and tried to come away with some extra HP so that I could get multiple Weather Balls off against the Gallade or against the Surfetch, but that's okay. My Gallade kind of hard counters this thing enough where all I need to do is register Confusion damage. My opponent brings in a Wall Rain. Y'all see what's on my Porygon. Porygon's got Zap Cannon. However, my opponent taking that Leaf Blade means that I'm really not needing to go for said Tri-Attack. I only need to go for Tri-Attack. I don't need to go for Zap Cannon, so fortunately for my opponent, I'm just going to go for the quicker hitting move because essentially, you know, I just need to make sure that my Gallade has enough HP and or is able to live enough counters to get through enough confusions to be able to take out the Surfetch'd. So I'm essentially going to leave with enough HP to be able to get to a Tri-Attack against this Surfetch'd, and that's also going to be able to allow me to be able to either force a shield or get a potential debuff against this person. And honestly, all I need is the confusion damage with 2 shields from Gallade. So they shield that because they figure that's probably, you know, why not use the shield, right? So I'm going to go for Leaf Blade for some reason. I think it's just because, well, of course it's for some reason. They don't have any shields left, duh. Again, past me knows what he's doing. But my opponent does live with 1 HP, so the confusion does have to register before I can take him out. But that's still a good game. Well played. My opponent did pretty well considering that they lost pretty much every matchup that there was in that game. Lapras is not bad. My whole team has a lot of play against the Lapras here. So I'm actually going to stay in for 1 confusion. I'm going to see if my opponent decides they want to swap, and then I'm going to come with my Porygon. My opponent decides to go straight for Surf. It's not a threatening move. I will let it go, and I will keep the energy that I've got in case they want to swap something in. They come in with a Muck, so it's Tri-Attack time. You can go straight for Zap Cannon if you've got a nice energy lead like I did. I probably could have just gone straight for it, but I want debuffs. I want them badly. And I'm going to go straight for a Tri-Attack after I get to it here. Probably in hindsight, going for the Zap Cannon would have been the better play. But I'm fishing for debuffs, and the game is not giving them to me. So my opponent's looking to farm down, and at this point, I'm like, you know what? I haven't got a single debuff. Porygon's not getting another move. It's just fine. I would just let it go, and then come in with my Gallade to farm down. And here comes Gallade. And here comes a banger on the audio track. Oh, I love this. Scarlet and Violet has such a banger soundtrack, man. This is great. So Gallade's going to farm down, but has to tank a move first. I'm going to put all of my faith into Aurorus and the fact that they probably have a Charizard in the back. And oh, look, it's a Charizard. So I'm going to go for the close combat here. Just going to look to either get a gigantic amount of chip damage at that point, or a shield. And they do let it go. So now my Aurorus is going to come in. And honestly, I don't have to shield this, but I should, because it's probably a Blast Burn. And even if it's only a Dragon Claw, I still, it's Shadow Charizard, so I have to respect it. And here comes Lapras. And Lapras is now going to have to try and either tank this Meteor Beam or shield it. And I think that they're forced to shield, and this would have been a safe place for me to bait here. I definitely thought about it, especially because they had 2 shields. It kind of made sense for me to bait, but at the same time, like, I can go straight for... Excuse you. I can go straight for the Meteor Beams. I don't know if you noticed, but it definitely looked like my fast moves were slowing down there, and that was kind of not great. So I think I'm losing out on some energy here. I'm pretty sure I'm only doing 1 move every, like, 3 turns. Yeah, I'm definitely, like... Maybe. I don't know. That of the animation on Aurorus is just weird, but it definitely felt like I was losing some damage. So I think that was a CMP, and that's why it didn't make any sense to me, because I know that I'm pretty sure that was not supposed to be a CMP. But anyway, doesn't matter. Get the Meteor Beam off. Oh, we gotta start it over. Hold on. Okay, there we go. And then we take out the Charizard, and we're good. Technical difficulties everywhere, y'all. Oh, it's a big yawn for someone who says they're not tired. Alright, so Shadow Gyarados in the lead. I'm going to come straight in with my Porygon, and then my opponent is going to counter with a Blaziken. And I'm going to go straight for Zap Cannon. I'm either going to get a shield, or I'm going to try and win switch. And you know what? There you go. But it doesn't take out the Blaziken, which means I now have to shield this Blaze Kick. I don't even know if I had to shield the Blaze Kick, to be completely honest. I don't know how much it does. But I didn't get a debuff, so I was kind of expecting it. And plus, I kind of wanted to try and see if I can get to a Tri-Attack. But the opponent's Gyarados gets to a move right before I do, frustratingly enough. And so I'm forced to let this go because I can't give both of my shields up at this point. I do believe I come up with my Aurorus here just to try and start doing some damage to this thing, hoping that maybe, once again, they've got something in the back that maybe is weak to Gallade. I would still rather have Aurorus against this thing because the Dragon Breath will just rip out my Gallade's poor little heart. And I swap, and for some reason, even though I clearly got a couple Dragon Breaths through, doesn't look like I even got a confusion through, so I don't know. But here comes a Steelix. Ah, this is bad. So I go for the Leaf Blade here, hoping to get a shield. But even if I get 2 shields off of my opponent, I don't think Aurorus is going to have what it takes to be able to take care of this. And they're going to go for Psychic Fangs. Honestly, Steelix kind of just manhandles this whole team. Like, unless Gallade has full health and shields, there's nothing I can do. So, I just kind of want to see how much damage the Weather Ball is going to do, and I'm pretty sure I just top left this match anyway. So Yeah, Steelix in Ultra League, like, I'm really hoping that if you built one for Ultra League, it's your hundo that you're going to Mega anyway. So, thankfully, it's probably going to have some use for you somewhere, but... yeah. That's not happening. It's not happening, man. Steelix is just a very good core breaker for a team like this, especially after my Gallade's gone. No chance. Completely walls Porygon, and Aurorus does not have the balls to tangle with... doesn't have the weather balls, rather, to tangle with the Steelix. It just doesn't. So, even if they come in with their Gyarados, it just farms me down, and that's going to be it. But that's okay. My opponent played that very well, and they had a team that was definitely well equipped to kick my rear end. But that's all right. So Swampert leads. So this is honestly not terrible. This is kind of where I want to see the Swampert, because my confusion damage is going to chunk really good, and then Leaf Blade is going to be able to do a fairly decent amount of damage here, as in one-shot a Swampert if they don't shield. So it's going to be able to force shields really nice. So what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to go on the CMP, and then after this I'm going to be able to get their second shield, and now we will both be shields down. But what I'm hoping, and again, is that the opponent has maybe Walrein or they have Charizard in the back. So I'm honestly okay with wasting around both shields here, as long as it means that I'm going to be able to get my Aurorus and my Porygon in the back without any shields to stop them. So you're going to sleep. That is not fair. You said I didn't want to go to sleep, Dad. You said I want to be in the videos, Dad. I don't want to go to sleep. My opponent comes in with a Gardevoir. It's a Shadow Gardevoir. So I immediately switch into my Porygon because I absolutely have to not get destroyed by this thing, which is something that Gallade would do very well. And then my opponent shields that Tri-Attack, which is really bad for me, and they get to a move before I can get to this Tri-Attack, which means Porygon, poor Porygon, is going to go down. But Aurorus now is going to be able to come in, and honestly, thankfully, because it's Charm, I know they're not going to get to a move, which means my not having shields is not terrible. And they swap in Sylveon, and so immediately I go for this Meteor Beam. They didn't catch. I did this intentionally because I want the Meteor Beam to hit, and then what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get to a couple of Weather Balls here. So I'm going to go for this first Weather Ball, and I'm going to hope that this person is not going to be able to get to any damaging charge move. But thankfully, right before they would have gotten to a move, I'm able to get them down to like 1 HP, take them out, and then the Weather Ball is going to come through from Aurorus. And Aurorus is just so bulky. And in a meta where there's no XLs, having something this bulky almost feels like a cheat code, to be honest. And even then, it's got a double counter weakness, and it's still pretty thick. So, well played to my opponent, but get your Shadow Charmer the heck out of here. Double Charm doesn't have any place in this game. So, once again, hitting like just about every bad lead that I can possibly hit with my Gallade, and my opponent brings in a Arcanine counter swap, and I'm like, okay, Psychic Fangs is probably likely. They're not going to go for the Wild Charge here. Oh no, the yawning is starting. Oh no, I've got it too. I'm going to go straight for Zap Cannon here. I want to get my opponent's shield or take him that low, and then thankfully, I get him pretty low, and you know what? I think that's very worthy of a kaboom. Kaboom! So here comes a potential Wild Charge. I'm not messing around here. At this point, if my opponent gets to a Wild Charge, it's a problem. So I'm going to go for Tri-Attacks here. And I noted that I get the first debuff with the Zap Cannon, and I got another one with the Tri-Attack. So I'm actually willing to let this go in case it is a Wild Charge. I think a double debuffed Arcanine probably can't one-shot. And you know what? It can't, because Porygon 2 is actually really bulky. It's more so than you would think. So that's what makes it actually a really ideal safe swap, is because those Tri-Attacks come out every 10 turns. And I'm able to get the Zap Cannon against Trevenant, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to be able to get my Aurorus on this Trevenant too, which if they don't shield, which they almost never do, that's a pretty good range for me to be able to take this thing out. And now, the nice thing here is also that because of how bulky Aurorus is, I know I can take a Seed Bomb pretty easily. I actually almost think I can take 2. Not comfortably, but I can. And then my opponent comes in with Charizard. And so my game plan at this point is to get my opponent out of shields, and then I need to save my shield either for my Gallade, which is most likely the case to Confusion down the Trevenant. And, God, I wish I could sleep that well. Man. Gonna go and get the Meteor Beam. They do get the shield off the Meteor Beam, so at this point, I think I'm willing to give this, give the shield up here. And what I'm gonna try to do is I'm actually gonna try to go for a Meteor Beam here, but I'm gonna overfarm just enough right before they get to the Dragon Claw, and I'm hoping that maybe they threw that Seed Bomb right away. And there's another one. Oh, I missed it. I'm slacking, man. I'm slacking. I'm going to get to this Weather Ball because they did throw right away. That means that I'm going to be able to get to this move before they're going to be able to get to one. And thankfully, even if they had gotten to the Seed Bomb at the same time as I did, didn't matter because my Gallade could have easily come in and farm them down. Now, I'm going to play against Jaden Ruin in this one, and he's actually a battler that I don't know if I've played against him before, but I definitely know of him. Incredibly skilled battler, so I know I'm in for a hard one here, but I'm going to go straight for Tri-Attack. There's Shadow Charizard. This Tri-Attack would probably do like 50%, honestly. It hit pretty hard. So they go ahead and put up a shield, and I'm already kind of an advantage here. I'm going to shield myself in kind, and my opponent is going to go for the Dragon Claw bait, which really made me feel bad because I'm like, man, I could have easily just not taken that. But I am going to be able to get to another Tri-Attack because even though Wing Attack is OP now, so is Lock On. I'm going to go for the Tri-Attack. I'm going to get the debuff, and I'm going to no-shield this, even if it's probably a Blast Burn at this point. I feel like my Porygon may have done its job. The Blast Burn still KOs, even though it was debuffed. That hurts. So at this point, I think I'm going to come in with my Aurorus, and I have to farm it down with the Aurorus. And the opponent's still able to get to a move, and I'm like, there's no way this is another Blast Burn. You didn't have that much energy, right? Nope, he had that much energy. So a Shadow Blast Burn still does a significant amount of damage, and at this point, I'm like, all right, he's got Snorlax. I'm going to go for the Meteor Beam, or I'm going to save the energy for the Meteor Beam. Probably should have just fired off the Meteor Beam or some Weather Balls, because honestly, down all that energy, there's no way Gallade can tangle with this Snorlax. So essentially all I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for the close combat. I'm going to hope that we CMP'd, which I know we didn't. And then I'm going to get this shield, and then I'm going to try and Meteor Beam the Snorlax as soon as my Aurorus is live. So there's the Aurorus, comes in, able to get to the Meteor Beam. Does this one-shot the rest of the Snorlax? Let's find out. Absolutely does. Gets that one hit, and then there's a Swampert in the back. And I'm like, you know what? Team comp. I got completely wrecked. Well played to my opponent here. Unfortunately, it's like, because I lost the lead, I had to forcibly swap in my Porygon. My opponent had the upper hand from there, because had they lost the lead, maybe they had something weak to Gallade, that could have swapped in Porygon to the Snorlax, and then this would have been a very different game. Like, for example, if they had switched the Swampert and Charizard, but it's okay. Still made it a close game, I feel. Not really. I got my butt handed to me. Well played, man. Good game. And love Shadow Charizard. I have my own. I was actually going to make a video on the Shadow Charizard, but everybody else was playing Charizard counters, so I had no, just like this, I had no play against it. So can confirm Shadow Charizard's pretty good though. So again, just like the last time, I'm going to go for as much as I can here. My opponent decides to CMP instead of go for the move before. So I could have snuck a whole confusion in there if I hadn't gone for the move right away. But because this is not a Shadow Swampert, I am going to be able to tank a Hydro Cannon pretty comfortably here. And that means that I'm going to be able to stay up a shield here against the Swampert. Now, I do have to start shielding at this point, though. And honestly, because the Swampert is in the lead, I'm expecting them to have, once again, Charizard, Wall Rain, something like that in the back. They have a Charizard, and I was caught in the middle of my confusion. I hit the Leaf Blade button, and they catch the freaking Leaf Blade. Oh, good job, my opponent. That was a good catch. So I'm going to bring in my Aurorus here. And because my opponent has a Swampert in the lead, what I need to do is I need to go for a Meteor Beam here, and then also make sure that I've got enough energy to hit him with a Weather Ball afterwards. So I overfarm by just enough right before they would get to a Dragon Claw. And then the Meteor Beam is going to come out from Aurorus. We're going to find out whether or not they shield this one, because they don't, and it takes out like 8 Charizards. And I'm going to be able to get to the Weather Ball because I overfarmed. Really big deal here, being able to overfarm, knowing the opponent's counts. It makes things like this possible. I definitely would not have been able to get to a Weather Ball comfortably and force that final shield off my opponent if it wasn't for the fact that I had gotten off some overfarming there. Now, my opponent has some energy. I'm going to come in with Gallade and force them to throw their energy. I am still expecting there to be something in the bag. Wall Rain and Swampert are very commonly paired together, so I'm just on a hunch at this point that those two are together, and there's a Wall Rain in the back. So I'm going to shield the Hydro Cannon because I expect it to be the hardest hitting move left in the game. And then I'm just gonna shoot this off because I know that my opponent has a Swampert and always has a million energy. So that's gonna go through. And then look, there's the Walrein. Now, from prior game knowledge, I know that it's a regular Walrein. I can't one-shot it with the Tri-Attack, or I can't one-shot it with the Zap Cannon, so I have to go for Tri-Attack first. Also gets a debuff, which means I can comfortably like go for the Zap Cannon here. They can go for 3 Icicle Spears and won't KO me. They can go for an Earthquake and that won't KO me. So I know at this point I've got the game in the bag. So well played to my opponent, but that's what Porygon's for. And you know what? Here it comes. You know you're ready. I'm ready. We love one-shotting Walrein. It's so much fun. That's what I have Porygon for. I just wish it hit just a wee bit harder. If I had a Shadow Porygon too, that thing would be kind of nutty. Alright, so my opponent's got a Toxicroak. This is as good a lead as I could possibly ask for, but I have to make sure that by all means I always win switch here. Now my opponent brings in a Snorlax, and they go for Body Slam, and they're somehow able to get to that. Well, no, it ain't, because 3 Confusions is not enough. So yeah, no, they're fine. So because they were able to get in there before I was able to get to my move, technically, I just go for the close combat instead to force the shield, and then I'm gonna come with Porygon 2 here, and go straight for Tri-Attack. Honestly, I could go for Zap Cannon at this point, but I don't need to. I'd rather go for debuffs. And my opponent's Snorlax, if I get the debuff, the superpower does not KO, but unfortunately for me, they do get to a superpower here, probably, and then some. And so I'm gonna have to let this go, and hopefully I can get to another Tri-Attack. And I make a mistake here. I lost track of their energy, so I just let it go, which I shouldn't have done. I definitely should have just gone for it straight away, but I was trying to get enough farm in, and unfortunately it backfired on me. But thankfully they don't shield this, which means that my Gallade still gets aligned. Now, if I were my opponent here, I definitely would have expected to want to switch there, but my opponent comes in with a Walrein and they overfarm. They could have gotten to a move before I got to my Leaf Blade. But I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade here, and then hopefully force the shield, and then I'm going to come with my Aurorus. Go for a Meteor Beam. And then I need to save my shield to make sure that the Toxicroak goes down to the confusion damage, and that's going to basically be the game right there. So we're getting the button ready, because Meteor Beams are coming. Oh, it's coming. And I should kaboom every single confusion, because why not? You know what? Why not? It's going to get obnoxious, but here we go. Here we go. There's one. Oh, no, I fired it off too early. All right, here we go. There we go. There we go. Every single confusion hits the button, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponents in these. This final set was a 3-2, but the team overall did really well. Had a lot of fun with it. Gallade is always a fun pick, and honestly, this feels a lot like a send-off kind of video for these two. I love Gallade, and I love Porygon too, both in Ultra League Premier Cup Classic. So I guess it's kind of a bittersweet ending for them, but I'll hopefully find a way to use them again, because I love Porygon, and Gallade's always been a favorite of mine. So Aurorus, however, that thing is going to be big. It's already big, but it's going to be big for the rest of the season. So if you don't have one, current event, the holiday event, has Amora in the 7K egg pool. Just do your best and hatch as many as you can. Hopefully you can get enough candy, maybe trade with your friends and get a good ranked Aurorus for a great in Ultra League, because this thing is bananas. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. And remember, if you're looking for coaching, I got you on Metafy down here in the description. And if you're looking to become a part of my Patreon Discord, best community I could have ever asked for, and a great place to get better at Go Battle League and Sylph and everything in general. And also just, we all challenge each other to get better every day. But you get early access to basically everything that comes before this channel. So there's a link to the Patreon in the description if you want to check that out. And that's going to be it. And this girl is asleep, and she's going to be asleep yesterday, because I'm recording these videos out of order, so that's going to explain why she's asleep now and yesterday. So y'all have a good one. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.